Hey guys, what's up? I have a few minutes here while I'm waiting for this athletic tape to come off of my knee. So I wanted to sit and talk to you guys, about something that I've been going through since maybe about March or April. As you all know by now, I have asthma and it gets really, really bad, as you saw in my asthma rant video. Well, in March or April of this year, the same doctor that I was seeing at that time, she suggested to me this new drug that was coming on the market. It had been approved for the FDA. They had already gone through all their testing and stuff like that, and it was just barely coming on the market. And so, when something like that happens, you have to kind of like special order it, I guess, for whoever is gonna, whoever's getting the medication. This medication is called Nucala, and it's supposed to be a monthly shot that I get, and it's supposed to kind of help the Spiriva and the Advair and all the other stuff that I'm on, and it could possibly help me get off of the prednisone altogether, which would be amazing, because, like, just, oh my god, it's hell with the prednisone. Anyways, this was starting in March or April. I got all the information, I read up on it, and the next, when I saw my doctor the next time after she told me about it, I told her, that I wanted to go ahead and go through with it, and I was, ready to be on board with it. She said, okay, well, we're going to need you to fill out some paperwork before you leave, so we can send it to the company, so that way they know exactly, how much medication to send to us for our patients who are gonna, who are gonna be eligible for this. Now, before I did this, I had to go through a whole lot of blood tests, because it varies on your white blood cell count. If you have like a too high blood cell count, you can't do it. If it's too low, you can't do it. It has to be right in the middle. And I was right in the middle, so that's why she suggested it to me. And so I said, yeah, sure, of course. Now I turned 21 in July. And after that point, after I turned 21, I could no longer see this pediatric doctor that I was seeing. So she had from March or April to July to get it all in order. And I was seeing her like every month at this point to try and get my asthma down to, reasonable where it's, where I can deal with it on a daily basis, basically. And so, that's what was happening. And every month I would go and I would ask her, her medical assistant, how is it coming along with Nucala? Do you have any, updates, anything like that? Every time I asked him, it was always a different excuse. The first time it was that he had lost the paperwork and he was looking for it, but as soon as he found it, he would get it sent out right away. Okay, so the next month I go in and I see her. I ask him again, what's, the status on Nucala, how's that coming along? Again, he would say that, oh, well, he still hasn't found the paperwork, but as soon as he does, he would send it out. Okay? So, and it was always different. One point it was he had found the paperwork and he sent it, but it wasn't all the paperwork that they needed. He had forgotten to include something, so he was gonna resubmit it, but from a different fax machine from the doctor's office next door, because their fax machine, I guess there was something that it wasn't compatible with theirs or something like that. So by the time my last appointment with this doctor came along, I had asked him, so since there's no Nucala yet, what's going to happen with that? Will I get it before my appointment with this new doctor, or what's going to happen? He said, well, if we wind up getting it before your appointment, then we'll call you and you would come in and see us and get the medication from us. And I said, okay, that sounds reasonable. And so basically, the month goes by, and I go and see this new doctor, and come to find out, when they got all of my files and everything from the previous doctor, turns out they had the medication, but they just never called me to tell me that it was there. Now, I don't know why, but they couldn't, a delivery service couldn't go and pick up the medication at my previous doctor's office and take it to my new doctor. I don't know why. No, they do it all the time with organs and with blood samples and stuff like that. You would think that they would be able to do that with medication. Or they could have called me and said, hey, we got your medications a couple days before your appointment. You can decide if you want to come and pick it up and you can take it with you to your appointment, or you can come and get it from us. I never got a call from them saying that they had this medication before my appointment. So my new doctor had to resubmit all the paperwork all over again. Now I've had to fill out paperwork 3 times. Twice for the previous doctor because he had lost the paperwork and I needed to fill it out all over again. And then again for this new doctor. My first appointment with him was in August. Here it is now October, and I have not gotten this medication yet. I got a call the other day from, I guess, the drug company. They wanted to sit down with me and talk to me about, basically what my feedback was about the medication. I had to call back the company and say, I would really love to take part in this, but I just can't right now at this time because I have not received this medication, and I told them this whole story. And so they said, okay, well, we'll keep your information on file. You just contact us when you have the medication. It doesn't matter if you get it and then the next day you come in and do this survey for us. It can be whenever. So I'm not exactly sure when my next appointment was supposed to be with him. I think it's sometime this month. But yeah, I haven't this. And to be honest, I really don't like how this new doctor treats me. This is for a completely different story video, but I'm going to go ahead and include it in here because I'm just going to, whatever. So, as you guys know, I'm also on Spiriva and Advair, as I mentioned earlier in the video. But one thing that I haven't really talked about is that, at one point, when I went to see this doctor, he called in the inhalers and the Montelukast, which is the generic for singular, that my previous doctor was giving me, was prescribing for me. So that way they were under his name, there wouldn't be any problem, whatever. Another thing, a couple other things that that my previous doctor prescribes for me is prednisone and omeprazole. Omeprazole is a generic for like Nexium or Prilosec. It's for acid reflux. Now, the reason why she did that was because my primary care doctor was the one who was originally prescribing it for me, but which she explained that if acid reflux goes unattended for long periods of time, it can make your asthma worse. So she then started prescribing it for me. So those were still under her name. I still had some at home, so I didn't think too much of it, but you would have thought, logic would have told this doctor, hey, there's all these medications that she's on that are under this previous doctor's name. Maybe I should, reorder, a whole new batch of this stuff so that way everything's under my name, so that way there's no trouble whatsoever. No. I finished the medications. I called when I had, I think maybe about 3 or 4 left of each. And I was going to call in and order the prescriptions again when I noticed that they were still under her name. When I called his office, it's so hard to get a hold of him and his medical assistant. It's just the hardest thing ever. I called throughout maybe a month or so. And each time I would call, they would transfer me to his medical assistant's voicemail. 3 times I was able to leave a voicemail for her. I never got a call back. After the 4th time when they transferred me over, her voicemail box was full. So I, was then pushed back, of course, to the front desk, and I explained to the girl, what do I do? I'm out of these medications. I'm starting to feel the effects of it. What do I do here? There's his medical assistant, her mailbox is full, and she hasn't gotten back to me, so I need to know what to do here. Whether I call in prescriptions under my previous doctor's name or what's going to happen here. She goes, well, let me leave your name and all your information for her on her desk, and she'll get back to you. Okay, so I call again the next week without hearing anything from her, and again, her mailbox is full. So I get pushed back to the front desk, and they said, well, hold on, let me go and find her. So they go and, they, talk to her, and she said she'd gotten your message. She just wanted to know what you needed samples of. And so I told her, the prednisone and the omeprazole. She said, okay. So the next day, before I went to class, I called, I made sure they were there. The person at the front desk who I talked to said that there was a bag there with my name on it, but she couldn't open it and find out what was in there. Now, I've gone into doctor's offices and gotten my grandmother's samples numerous times. I know that sometimes they staple the bag shut. Whatever. I didn't think anything of it. I thought maybe the bag was sealed shut. So that day we go and we pick it up. I look in the bag. The bag isn't sealed. The bag is just there. It's not sealed at all. And it was samples of Spiriva and Advair. I told the girl, this isn't what I asked for. I asked for samples of omeprazole and prednisone. Well, this girl that I had already been having trouble with when I started going to see this doctor, because when I went to see him originally, he wanted me to do a series of PFTs, which is pulmonary function tests for him, so he knows exactly how severe my asthma is and how to start my therapy for my asthma. And so I had asked them previously when I scheduled this test, could the paperwork be given to me, and if I don't finish it, could I take it home and return it when I go in for my appointment, for my actual appointment? They said yes. So I gave them what I had finished there in the office and took home maybe about 2 or 3 pages extra to finish at home. When I went for my normal appointment, the girl was trying to get me to fill out stuff that I had already filled out. I told her all this information about, my grandparents being, it being okay to give my grandparents, information about me if I'm not able to answer the phone. All of that I had filled out before, and it should be in, in the computer, in my file. She goes, really? Well, let me see. So she goes and she searches through the computer, and yeah, it's there. So anyways, so this girl, we'll call her Bug Eyes for this because she's got huge bug eyes. So anyways, so Bug Eyes, she's sitting, okay, now, some of you may know, have noticed this about doctor's offices, but nurses' desks, like if they work at the front desk, their desks are kind of like built into the wall. It's like a counter. And, they each have their own separate stations, whatever. So she's sitting next to her, and Bug Eyes just goes, well, we can't give samples of that. We're not allowed. And then so I said, so why wasn't I told this when I called to ask for these samples? And why wasn't I told this yesterday morning when I called to make sure that you had them? And why wasn't I called, why wasn't I told any of this when I called the several times that I've, checked to see if it was here and to ask for these samples? And she goes, well, I don't know, we can't give them to you. And I said, okay, so what am I supposed to do? I'm starting to feel the effects of not having these medications in my system, the tightness in my chest, the heartburn, everything, which can be worsened. My asthma can be worsened. What am I supposed to do? She goes, oh, well, I don't know. Let me go and find his medical assistant. So she goes and she gets his medical assistant. Now, the medical assistant that I had dealt with when I went to see him was completely different than the medical assistant that came out to talk to me. The one that I had, dealt with when I went to see him, she was gordavita like me. No offense. I'm saying, like me. I'm just, using a different term for it. She was blonde, and she wore glasses. This girl who came out, she was flaca, or skinny. For those of you who don't quite understand, the Spanish language, she was skinny, and she had, like, brownish, blonde, like dirty blonde hair, like really, really dirty blonde hair, and she didn't have any glasses. And so she comes out and she explains to me that the reason why they gave me these medications was because the insurance had denied my Spiriva to cover my Spiriva, which I had told the doctor when I went to see him that I had gotten a letter saying that they weren't going to be covering Spiriva anymore. Now, I was on a high dosage of Spiriva, which kind of works better for patients with COPD and cystic fibrosis and stuff like that. So he said, well, let's try this. Let's try ordering this lower dosage and see if they cover, and see if they'll cover it. of course they didn't, and I got another letter saying that they weren't going to cover it, and of course she told me that they weren't going to cover it, which, as I said, I had told him. So I told her, well, I don't need this medication. I have a bunch of it at home that my previous doctor had given me samples for before I left my last appointment. And then she goes, oh, okay. And then I said, so what's the deal with the prednisone and the omeprazole? She goes, well, the pharmacy didn't really approve it, so we're resubmitting it again. It should be there soon. I could have been told that over the phone. But no, nobody bothered to tell me anything about them not being able to give me the samples, about that it wasn't approved by the pharmacy, nothing like that. I wasn't told any of this. And then along with, all of that, the doctor himself, when I went to see him, he's asking me, okay, first of all, he started to just automatically assume that I had sleep apnea. Because I would, find myself getting really drained during the day, whatever, that's completely normal. You fall asleep during the day, whatever, fall asleep at the wheel. Thankfully, I don't do that because I don't drive, so I don't fall asleep, at the wheel driving, but of course, having, trouble paying attention in class, that's completely normal. Everything's completely normal, but he just automatically started assuming that I had sleep apnea. Okay? Then he was starting to ask me, some of the stuff about my asthma, and I started telling him, how it all started, when it started, stuff like that, and he would interrupt me. Completely change the subject and interrupt me. And then at one point, we were talking about the side effects of the prednisone. He goes, yeah, well, weight could be a factor of it. And then, maybe once, you have the Nucala and we're able to get you down to a lower dosage, maybe we can get rid of all of this. He was talking to me like I was 7 years old. I'm 21 fucking years old. And you're treating me like I'm a 7-year-old. You're an adult pulmonary specialist. Okay? Since when did I revert to being 7 years old? At 7 years old, I had asthma, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't to the point where I would feel like, oh my god, what is happening to my body? So it completely pissed me off. Yes, I know, my weight is a factor in how bad my asthma is. I've been told this for many, many years. And so, I try my best. But when you have asthma, you can't exactly do a lot before your lungs start to say, okay, it's time to take a break. We're done for today. No more. I know exactly how far I can push myself before it gets too bad. But all these doctors and everything, they want me to push myself beyond that limit. I'm sorry, but if you push yourself beyond that limit, the consequences are deadly. Look at my brother. He lost a classmate because he had an asthma attack at school. Now my brother just automatically associates asthma with death. Every time I get bad like this with my asthma, every time my grandma gets bad with her asthma, he automatically thinks we're gonna die. So, I'm so done with this doctor. I've already told my grandparents, as soon as I get the Nucala medication from him, I'm going to start looking for a new doctor, because this is just ridiculous. Another thing is, once I got the omeprazole and the prednisone, I, of course, was doing the inhalers as well, but it was so strange, I started coughing up blood. The first time it happened, it was in the middle of class, and I was, just happened to be coughing a lot that day. It was completely normal. It happens all the time. And at one point, I feel, a loogie come up, so I thought, okay, I'll just get the napkin that's in front of me, spit it out in there. And of course it's, just natural reflex now that everybody looks at their spit just to make sure it's, everything's looking okay. Because if you see any weird color, it's like, what the hell? So I spit it out, and It was blood red. I'm not talking about like, little strings of blood in your, in your mucus or anything like that. It was completely 100% blood red. Um, at which point I went down to the bathroom. It was maybe about 11 or so, 11:30 or so. And I went down to the bathroom, finished coughing my brains out, to the point where I felt okay, enough to go back upstairs and to collect my stuff because I didn't want to be a nuisance to the rest of the class coughing up blood, you know? And so at that point, once I had collected my stuff, I went back downstairs and tried to call the doctor's office. They were not in the office. They were going to be closed until 1 for lunch. So from 11:30 to 1, I had to be scared to death because I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I kept coughing up the blood, and it eventually stopped, and then and so I was finally able to get a hold of his medical assistant, hopefully, and so I'm like, I don't know what to do here. I need to talk to somebody there that can tell me what to do. And so they said, okay, well, let me go and find his medical assistant. So they went and found him. She got on the phone. She said, she started asking questions, and she goes, well, I can get you in to see the nurse practitioner so she can check you out. And I said, okay, whatever date it is. And it just happened to be my last day of class. And normally we don't do anything on the last day of class, so I didn't think anything of it. I just went ahead and took the appointment. At that point, I wasn't coughing up anything anymore. And so she said, well, here, I'm going to give you a couple of these urine sample cups. If it just, so happens to continue, spit it in there and try and rush it to the lab within an hour of it happening. And so I went to see her on a Thursday. Nothing happened again until Saturday, when I started coughing up blood again. I had filled like the bottom of a sample cup. And when I had gone to see her, nobody gave me any lab orders, what lab to take it to, nothing like that. But she did want me to go and have a chest x-ray done, at which she had sent it through the computer to the front desk, so that way they could, print it out and give it to me. They couldn't find that order, so I asked, couldn't she just, send it to the, to where she wants to, to the imaging center? And then she goes, yeah, that's what I'm going to do as soon as I find it. I don't know if she ever found it. I never heard anything back. She said, once the imaging center has it, they'll give you a call to schedule it. And I said, okay. Haven't gotten a call. So the coughing up blood hasn't happened again. Thank God. Knock on wood. It hasn't happened again. But I would still really like to know why it was happening. Granted, they would need a sample of it to test what it was to figure that out, but that's a little hard to do. So this doctor, he's just been so, oh my God, he's been worse than my doctor before. At least with my doctor before, she was taking the initiative to try and help me. It's just, oh my God, no, I dread going to my next appointment because I don't want to deal with those people in the office. I don't want to be treated like I'm 7 years old. I'm 21 years old. Talk to me like we're like normal adults. Talk to me like I talk to you guys, So it's just, I hate it. I really do. Yeah. No, so that's my kind of story, whatever. So please, guys, if any of you are on Nucala or in line to get Nucala, if you've if you've had to go through the same trouble, or if you've just been able to get it right away as soon as you sign the paperwork, and if you're on Nucala, what have you noticed? Because I'm really curious about that, because he wanted me to be on the prednisone until he wanted me to be on the 20 milligrams of prednisone until he was able to get the medication. I call like weekly, daily to find out the status, and nobody can tell me anything. His medical assistant's voicemail is always full. So it's like, what is going on here? You know, so and as you noticed, I didn't mention names, nothing like that, except bug eyes, that's all I said, which can mean absolutely anybody. I can be absolutely anywhere, unless, of course, you follow my Instagram, you would know where I am. So yeah, I have to tell you, like, the biggest thing um, that has really helped me, like, seriously, is the coloring and, you know, the looming and stuff like that. Speaking of which, I'm going to be doing a review on a coloring book that my mother gave me, that my mother sent me, so be sure to watch out for that. I'm going to check on this to see how things are going here. I think it's about ready. Yeah, I have athletic tape on my knee because it's been hurting a lot, so yeah. Oh, and guys, coming up here, I'll probably put them all together. This next week is going to be busy for me. I'm going to a Holocaust documentary with my grandfather on Thursday evening, and then on Friday and then on Friday I might be going to Nightfall with my stepmom and my dad, and maybe my brother and my grandpa. I don't know yet. But my dad has a job to do in Phoenix on Saturday overnight, so my stepmom wants to go either to Slaughterhouse or to Nightfall before he goes to Phoenix. And this is just, you know, the more you know. If you guys are ever trying to get any type of bandage off of you, alcohol wipes help. So that's just an alcohol prep pad. So that's what I'm going to use to try and get this off because it's coming off slowly. So yeah, I'm probably going to put them all together in a Vlogtober special. Anyways, so let me finish. Saturday we're not doing anything, surprisingly. But on Sunday I'm going to Fall Ball, which will include but that won't be until later in the evening. I'm going for Weezer and Panic at the Disco, because they're awesome. I've been a fan of Panic at the Disco since I Write Sins and Not Tragedies, which was their very first single. I feel old every time I listen to it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this off of my knee here and talk at the same time, and it's really hard. But I'm going to make another video right now talking about my experience that I had at another festival like this, which it was an amazing experience. There was something here, if you remember, there used to be a frame there before it fell off and it broke, but it's going to include that as soon as I can find the rest of the sketches that I did for it, because I don't want to show the actual thing until I talk about that. So I'm probably going to put all those together, so be on the lookout for that. I don't know when exactly I'll post it, but I'll post it before November, hopefully before Halloween, maybe. I'll post it on Halloween, and I'm going to be doing a couple makeup tutorials, because I'm going to a baby shower on October 29th, and it's going to be kind of like a Halloween type thing. And last year, for my friend's brother's birthday, was a Halloween party, a costume party, and I was a black swan, or as black swanish as I could be, because let's be honest, I can't be a swan. I'm not a swan. I'm like not a crane. A crane is too dainty, too agile. What would I be? No, seagull, dodo bird. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, but it's really cool. It's gonna, whoa, okay, that's on the floor now. So it's gonna include this mask, and I'm thinking about redding out the eyes here, since swan's eyes are normally red. So I would probably have it up here, so that way I could red that out. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then for actual Halloween, I don't know if I'm going out yet or not. Um, but I have decided to be a little bit of an urban legend. I kind of want to say it, but I kind of don't. It's this old urban legend. It's really, really creepy, and it's really, really simple. I don't know why I didn't think about doing it years before. It's just so simple. So yeah, I'm trying to get this tape off. Come on. I'm trying to get this tape off so that way I can show you guys what it looked like. That hurt. Okay, now it's come to a stop here. Okay, there we go. Alright, so, they call this K-tape or athletic tape. A lot of the athletes during the winter or during the Rio Games had it on. I know this isn't how it looks. Well, no, it's got a cut in the center that was over my kneecap. So I had this on my knee because my knee was hurting a lot, and it actually works. It pulls the skin away from the muscle, I guess. So yeah, so I had that on for a few days, and now it's time to take it off. So yeah, guys, my hands are all greasy because you have to take it off with vegetable oil. So yeah, guys, I will see you next time. The other story time about my experience will probably be right after this video because I want to post it before the actual event. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Mwah. Happy Halloween, you guys.